Hi design lovers, my name is Molly Lucas and I'm an interior designer.
How did you know you wanted to be an interior designer?
So from a young age, my mom knew that I was going to go into a creative field and I really wanted to be a fashion designer. So I remember I would cut out little pieces of paper and make them into shirts and dresses, and I had all these different creative kits as a kid. And my dad built me a playhouse. It was a Victorian era themed playhouse in our backyard. And my mom fondly retells the story that she took me at, I think it was 5 or 6, into the True Value to pick out the paint samples. And we went to the paint chip world, you know, towering above me with hundreds of color samples. And she said she fondly remembers me walking in, looking at it and going, and picking the blue, picking the green, and picking the purple, and then being like, oh, that wasn't quite right. And then going and putting one paint chip back and then pulling the other. And I handed her 3 colors, purple, blue, and green, and those ended up being the colors of my playhouse. I think that can be really daunting, maybe even as an adult, to approach the paint samples in a store. And I think the benefit of being a child and being a creative spirit was that my mom trusted me to make that choice, and I didn't limit myself by those fears as a child because I wasn't thinking like an adult. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I get to pick my favorite colors, let's do it.
Tell me a little bit about your career so far.
So I went to school at Chatham University here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I never left. So my first job after school was at a design build company that taught me all of my technical process. So AutoCAD, SketchUp, you know, they gave me a full overhaul from what I had even learned in school to then how the real world works. And I gained all of my knowledge from that. Like I said, they were a design build, so I had to learn as a designer how to technically detail something where someone in the field could build it even though I'm the one designing it. So I love that there's that full aspect of design where you can be a really great interior designer, but if someone doesn't know how to build what you're envisioning, it can fall really flat and you won't be successful. And so that technical background is kind of the backbone of my starting career, those early years. And then I kind of had this passion and this desire to understand the other side of interior design, the other end. So we would design a beautiful kitchen from head to toe, and then we would leave, and my heart, the part of me was like, well, what is the client going to do with that after? You know, how are they going to style their dining room? What dining room table, rugs, drapery, what's going to happen here when we leave? And so there I found another firm in Pittsburgh that helped me creatively define color and pattern and texture in a space through wallpaper, area rugs, decorative lighting, and of course the fabrics on everything, chairs, sofas, you name it, we did it. And so that gave me full A to Z design experience of here's my technical, here's kind of the soft finishes, the decorative elements that get added to the space after the architectural elements are done, and how do we marry those two together. And so that has been super influential for me in my career in building of my own knowledge and my continuing education, because design is a career where you'll just continue to learn your entire life. And so that's where I started, and that's where I'm at, and that's why we're filming today for Maison de Molly.
Who or what inspires you?
So this one is a tricky question because I think social media has a lot of creators who are pushing out content every single day, and it is a great way to be inspired as a creator myself. It can be intimidating because there's a lot out there, and what do you follow, what do you do? But I find the most inspiration when I'm doom scrolling, as they say, through things, and all of a sudden there's that little spark or a little idea of something else that somebody did where I can look at that and make it my own. I know social media seems like the bland answer or maybe too much of an umbrella term answer, but I think that's where we're exposed to the most. I mean, even years ago, you might have not even been following 500, 1,000 plus more people. And now we're so much better connected through the world of social media that I can see what people are doing halfway across the world at just the touch of my finger on my screen. That would be number one. And number two is Frank Lloyd Wright. So I fell in love with Falling Water and Kentuck Knob and just a lot of his creative processes of bringing architecture and nature together and blending those two. And I think my dream growing up was to have a mid-century modern house, and I didn't really think it would be possible. I always joked that if Frank Lloyd Wright would sneeze, I would like to take one of those particles and have a mid-century modern home. And that's what I'm sitting in today. So it feels really great to be here, really great to respect the characteristics of the home. And as a designer, figuring out how I can enhance that through the architecture, but also through the design of the interiors.
Yeah.
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 What are the 3 things you can't live without?
The 3 things I can't live without would be tacos, gin and tonic, and chocolate. So I might sound like a stereotypical woman when I say chocolate, but I recently got a Costco membership because we moved out into the suburbs. So that's what you do. You get a Costco membership. And I have a total obsession for these milk chocolate covered s'more bites. And you know what? I actually think I have a bag. Just give me a sec. Found it. Do I have to like hold it up like this, like all the makeup artists do? But they're s'more clusters and I'm obsessed with them.
Why are you starting a YouTube channel, and what content do you want to put out?
So I'm starting a YouTube channel because I have this deep-rooted passion for educating people on interior design. I think a lot of people think that interior designers just pick pillows and make colors look pretty in a space, and there is a lot more to it than that. And so based on my degree and my experience in the field, I want to offer informational tidbits to people on here. My goal is for my viewers to hold me accountable on creating valuable content that tells a story and is also something that people can look at and use as the tips and tricks in their own homes and kind of educate them throughout the process of the wide world of interior design.